I hope your week is off to a great start. Another Transformer Tuesday starts right now on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we kind of start the beginning of the end of our Optimus Prime build series. So this is the first of the last 4 episodes. So today we're going to be doing some sort of preparatory work. We're going to be bringing back the head, which we haven't seen since like the first episode or the second episode. We're going to be attaching some pieces to the neck and sort of the base that it's going to sit on and attach to the model. And then we're working on a piece for the back, which will hold the batteries. This episode and the next 3 episodes are going to be a little bit longer. They're probably going to be about 35-40 minutes because they are packing a lot into these final stages. But let's get into the build and we can talk about it after.
Autobots, roll out!
Okay, here we are in episode 21. So this is the tray that we had left in pack 11. I believe these are all parts for the blaster and weapon parts, so I don't think we're going to use them in this episode, so I'm going to set those aside. But this huge box, which you can see is quite a bit thicker than the boxes that we've normally got. This is pack 12. This is the final pack for Optimus Prime, and I believe standard we have usually gotten 3 trays per box. I believe we're getting 4 trays in this box, which explains why it is so thick. So let's get these straps off of here. Alright, so let's open this up. Oh. Strapped and taped. All right, my goodness. So yeah, we have a lot of parts here. Yes, 4 trays of parts. Ooh, look at there, battle axe. That's cool. So I'm gonna set these back in. Wow. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull the parts that we need for this episode. We're going to be working on the back and the neck, I believe. So we're going to be bringing back Optimus Prime's head, which we made way back in the beginning. So let me pull all the parts and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our parts laid out. Yeah, this was quite the adventure. You know, I thought there were 4 trays in the box. I thought maybe we would, you know, this first section, they'd all be in tray 1. No, it was a mix of tray 1, tray 2. I think there was 1 part from tray 3, and then probably maybe 5 or 6 parts from tray 4. So we were all over the place, but we got all of the parts laid out for what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is take these pieces here. And of course, one just kind of rolled away. So we want to take these 4 pieces, and the instructions caution us. It says that they're on one of them, so there's this piece here, and it says that on one of them, it's supposed to be, it says the ends are different. So it goes in like so. Although you don't glue it or anything. And then it is supposed to fit in this piece. So let's try. Okay, I got it. So yeah, you want to make sure. So it's very hard to tell, but this side is rounded and this side is square. So you just want to make sure you have them oriented, because this little slot is the same way. One end is rounded and one end is square. So we want to go in just like so. This is going to be very tricky. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to try to put the bottom in first. Yeah, Okay, so we got that. Alright. So yeah, definitely easier to get. Just put one side in, put the little cylinder over, and then kind of nudge it in. And then we should be securing that with these pieces here. Yeah, I think I have the wrong piece here. Haha, yes. Alright, so we're going to save this piece for the moment. So the difference, I mean, they look very similar, except for this has a post in the middle. But, I mean, they look very similar, but this side is flat, and this side has this these fins on it. Alright, now, onward. Okay, so now, let's turn this way. So this is going on like so, and then this is going on the top. And that's going in with a PB 2.3 by 6. So we've got a ton of screws over here. Alright, so that is secure now. Alright, now we want this piece that we almost used, and we want the other two little spindles. So they're going to go on like so. Alright, so we do need to put a little glue on here. So I think this is going to be a little tricky because, one, the bottom of this is not flat, so that's one thing. But we need to have these cylinders on here, which they're already just falling off. But they need to go here, and then we need to match our slots there. So yeah, this is going to be a little tricky, but I need my glue here because we need to put glue on these little pegs here. Which I think in this episode we're going to be using quite a bit of glue actually. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, well, it's helpful if you don't glue your fingers to the part. But I think we kind of got it here. Alright, we got it. So I'm going to turn that over and give that a good push. Okay, so we can just set this off to the side for a moment, kind of let that dry. Now we need these parts here. So this is going in like so with our PB 2.3 by 6, so two of those. All right, we got that glued on or screwed in, and now we need to take this piece and we're going to put a little glue on the back and set that right inside there. Alright, that is going on just like so. And now we're going to bring these two parts together. And there is a little tab here, which lines up with, or a slot, which lines up with this tab. So we're going to push that on. And then we're going to go in again with our 2.3 by 6. Okay. So we got that in. Now we're taking these two pieces and we are orienting this. Alright, and these are labeled 1 and 2. So number 2 goes on this side and number 1 goes on this side. So we are just going to put a little glue on these tabs. And that is going to sit there like so. All right, now we need this piece. I'm going to set this aside. And our switch, exciting. And we need to bring our battery box back. So here is our battery box. So we want this to come out here, like so. All right, so there are 2 wires coming out the back and then a little prong. We want the prong going on this end. I think that's going to give us the right on-off because it's printed on-off on this piece here. So we want to make sure we're orienting that so when we actually activate the switch, it does what it's supposed to do. All right, so you want that tight because you don't want the switch to be wobbly, but you don't want to go too tight. So there we have our switch. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Next, we want to bring over this piece, and it is, so there are 2 pieces that look very similar. We want the one that is stamped number 2. And then we want this piece, and we want this piece. So it is saying we want a little glue because this is going to go in. All right, and these little black pieces, even though they look identical, one of them, they are also stamped 1 and 2. And yes, when you put those in, definitely, I originally had 1, and yeah, number 2 definitely fits in there better. There is a straight side and then sort of a notched side, and you just want to match the pattern on the red piece. So again, we're just going to take a little glue and pop on these and just push those down tight. So that should look like that. And then this, again, we're just matching up. It's also stamped number 2. So we're just matching this up with this shape. And we are going in again with our PB 2x3, 2.3 by 6. All right. And I'm going to put that aside. And of course, we're just going to do the same exact thing on this other side. All right, perfect. All right, so now we want a, we need a little magnet here. So there are a lot of magnets in this pack, just FYI. All right, so we need to put a little glue. Drop the magnets in. And try not to glue your fingers to the magnet. All right, now we're taking our battery box assembly that we had, and it looks like these are going, or this is going, like so, and we're putting those in with PB 2.3 by 6. Okay, so there is that. Now we're taking this piece and we are putting, here we go. So we are putting these little magnets on the side here, or actually I think these are just metal. These are just pieces of metal. So that may be why the polarity does not matter on these magnets, because these are just metal pieces, little pieces of metal. They're not magnetized. And they're going to go on the outside of these little slots here. So let me Just dropped in like so. Okay, perfect. All right, so now it wants us to join them, but I'm just gonna let that sit for now because I wanna make sure, one, that the magnets are dry and that the pieces of metal are dry. Okay, so now we need to bring back Optimus Prime's head. So let me grab that. All right, so remember him? Here's Optimus Prime's head. Very cool, very cool. All right, so we are going to be going from the back here. And we need this piece. Now be careful of your wires. So I think we're going to sandwich these together. Oh no, we are going to put a screw in. 2x6, PB 2x6. So there are these 4 little lugs, and there's 4 pegs there, and then the screw hole in the middle. So that is going to get that all lined up for you. But my goodness, Optimus Prime's head is a lot of metal, and it's pretty heavy. And of course, while you're doing this, remember that you are not pinching any wires. The wires are coming out. So now we're taking this piece, and again, there are there's little notches here for the wires to come out. But there's 4 holes and 4 little notches. So we're going to just line those up like so, and then we're going to put a screw right here in the bottom. Another one of those 2x6s. All right, so that is what that is looking like now. Very cool, very cool. And we need to bring over these pieces here, and there's a little sort of a foam pad in here. So this is going to go like this. So this is the speaker. So one thing, sort of spoiler alert, you'll notice that none of these wires, unlike previous, like the Titanic, the DeLorean, the Batmobile, none of these wires have any sort of markings or labels on them. Usually they have a little sticker that has a letter or a number, or sometimes they will be printed on the side of the plug, a letter or a number. None of the wires in this kit have that. So we did get a little sticker sheet. So I believe it's not in this episode, it's in the next episode that we'll start labeling some of these wires. I just found that kind of interesting. All right, so here's the speaker. So there is a little foam pad with some adhesive on it. And we're going to put that right here on the bottom of the speaker. And then the speaker is going to sit in here. And then when this is flipped up, it wants the wire coming out this side. So this is going on just like so. And then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to be using 2.3x6. And we're just going to go into the 4 corners. Be careful to not put your finger through the speaker. Be sure to grab around the edges here. All right. There's the speaker assembly. Now we're taking this little piece, so we need to flip it over. And again, I always like to orient the way that they have it in the diagram. So this is going to go in like so. All right, cool. So we're bringing back we've got, let's see, PM 3x10. Okay, so interesting fun fact. None of the screws are just labeled M, not PM. So So here's M 3x10, and then we have our nuts and these little lock washers here. So let me grab those. And these are, like I said, the manual says PM 3x10, but this just says M 3x10. And then the only other little bolts we get like that, they also are just M 3x6. And you know the drill, we take the little bolt, we put the washer on, we come up, actually I'm going to put the nut in the top here. And then we need to get our Allen key, put my finger on the nut. Alright, so that is tight. Set that aside. Now we're going to take this, and we're going to take one of these little pieces, and there's a flat end, and we want that end to go through this way, and I'm just going to give that a little push to get that in there. Alright, now we have another one of those that's going to go in Optimus Prime's neck. There we go. A little help, a little assist with the pliers. Okay, so now we want to take, so we are feeding the wires down through the holes here. Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky. Alright, so this is going to be a little tricky because we're taking this piece, and that's fitting over. So it's kind of a sandwich situation, which you know I love, because it's impossible to hold. I am telling you right now. And of course these wires don't help anything, because they are just literally in the way.
One eternity later.
Okay, that was not fun at all. My goodness. So now we want to take these two pieces, and again, one of them is stamped 2 and one of them is stamped 1. So we want number 2 on this side, like so, and that's going in with a 2.3x6. Okay, and then of course the number 1, this one is going on like so. Alright, there we go. And then we're going to take these two pieces, and with Optimus facing this way, actually we want to put this front one on first. Alright, yeah, you want to put the front one on first because there's a little lip that this is going to sit on top of, so... Alright, and like I said, there's a little lip, so these should just fit over. Alright, so there's that. Now we want, I'm going to set this over here. That out of the way. Alright, so now we want this big metal piece here. And this is going to go right here, like so. And that's going in with our 2.3x6. Okay, so there is that piece. Alright, so now hopefully we have given this sufficient time to dry. So we can put, there we go, awesome. Yes, that is working perfectly. Love it. Alright, pretty self-explanatory. The lower wire is going in the lower hole, and the upper wire is going in the upper hole. So that's going to fit down over just like so. All right, perfect. Now we're bringing this around like so. And these are going to sit. Oops. Just like so. And those are going in a 2x6. 2x6. Alright, so there we go there. And then I believe the last piece we need to do for this is we take these little pieces and they're just going to get glued right in there. Yeah, you really gotta force that in there. Like, I don't even think you really needed to glue this. I mean, once you get those in there, they're not going anywhere. Alright, so there we have this completed piece, and then of course this will come off to allow you to get to your battery pack. And that is it. And then of course we have this piece. So that will do it for this episode. Let's move over to the Lego side.
Autobots, roll out!
Alright, here we are on the Lego side. So if you remember last episode, we got the head done. So now we are going to be moving on to steps 345 through 359. So it looks like we're going to be working on some accessories. So we're sort of ahead of the game on the Lego side. We're pretty much done with the robot. We're done with Optimus Prime. Now we're going to focus on some accessories. I believe on the scale model side, we have, after this episode, we have 2 more build episodes. And then the fourth episode will be working on the weapons and accessories. So we're definitely ahead of the game on the Lego side. So let's get building. Okay, that is it through step 359. So we built and put in the matrix of leadership. We built an Energon cube, and then we also built this little weapon here, which we can take off Optimus's hand, and we can put this in here like so. Alright, that'll do it for the Lego portion. Alright, let's recap what we have done. I'm going to move him over to the side here. Alright, so on the Lego side, we built the Matrix of Leadership, got that installed, an Energon cube, and then we have this axe weapon. And then over on the scale model side, we attached the head to the speaker. And then we also completed this back section, which will also house our battery compartment with this little magnetized cover. And that will do it for episode 21. All right, so pretty cool. The head is looking great. It's nice to see that back after so long. However, attaching it to that base was very tricky. My goodness. But we got it in the end. So let's do our summary really quick. So for the scale model side, we completed 28 steps and used 46 parts. For the Lego side, 36 steps and 70 parts. Total to date, 684 steps for the scale model and 816 parts. And on the Lego side, 521 steps and 1,320 parts. All right, so on the Lego side, we completed Optimus Prime pretty much, and now we're just working on some accessories. So yeah, kind of lackluster there a little bit, but you know, we're putting the finishing touches there. So we're a little out of sync because we have one more build episode for the scale model, and then episode 23 will be the final assembly. So we'll take what we did today, plus what we're going to complete in the next episode, and put it all together and finish the final model. And then our final build episode, episode 24, will be accessories. We have an Energon axe, a blaster, and then we have a larger matrix of leadership that we'll be working on. So very cool there. Also, remember, we have a poll that I mentioned in last week's progress episode. Since we are coming down to the end of the Optimus Prime build, we need to look for another build. So there is a poll out on the website, on the YouTube channel site. So just navigate to the YouTube channel, and it's in the posts section. So there is some votes already. This is where we stand so far. It looks like I think there's a total of 7 votes so far, maybe 6 votes, something like that. So the winner so far is the Orca from Jaws. But the other 2 options are the Enterprise D from Star Trek and the 1989 Batmobile. So head over there and vote, and then I will reveal that in a few weeks after our finale episode. So also remember, like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, thank you for joining us, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. And even if you're not new and you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach those milestones so we can give away some free Lego. But until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.